What is up, my core knights? I am the resident, your local legend, a legendary Boogiieekknight, and I'm playing Reggie Loop again. I did not finish this game, and with everything going on with Resident Evil and some of the other things that was happening, I just put it on a back burner, and really I should have been playing this for a while now. Should be beaten by now, but because there's other visual novels that I want to play, so I'm trying to refresh my memory about what's going on. I've only got one ending, and apparently there's a bunch. I don't fucking know. The last time I think we were in the middle of the newest loop, which he remembers everything. For anybody who's interested in this game and who has never played this or seen anything of it, I have my prior playthroughs all on YouTube, so if you just go over there and look for me, you'll go ahead and get the rest of those. And I believe I have them all listed. I need to make sure that I do, especially if I'm going to start playing this, because this is a confusing fucking game. So as I play through, I'll probably refresh my memory. As always, it's time to boogie. So let's... Which one am I doing? Let's see. This was 12/22 2020. Looks like True Beginning is the one that I need to really do. But why did I... Why did I do it like this? Wit. Alright, well, we'll go with that. Load game. Here we go. Raging Loop. 5/13, Tuesday. My eyes were closed, but it was bright. That could only mean that the morning had came. No, well, yes, but there was something more important. I'd actually closed my eyes and fallen asleep. I got to my feet. Sure enough, it was morning. I'd actually ended up sleeping. Well, that meant that since I had completed my preparations, I was actually invited to the feast. That was proof that as long as you had a place to stay, you could participate in the feast, even if you'd lived here only a few days. It was 6 o'clock right now. I'd gone to bed way too early, but that provided me a good night's sleep. I could sense any beasts outside. Without any hesitation, I opened the door. Sure enough, there was the mist. Last time, the first one who'd come to me was Shimmy, but that was later than it was now. Was I supposed to wait before making a move? No. This was a chance to learn something I hadn't last time. I couldn't let this opportunity slip me by. Yasumizu was eerily silent. I couldn't see anything. My whole body was covered in cold mist, and I was all alone. It reminded me of my time wandering the endless riverbed before death. Crap. People despaired when they were cold, hungry, alone, and could barely see. This was unavoidable, and not something that I could win against. I had to find someone right away. Who's there? Suddenly I heard an angry shout from nearby. It made me turn rigid, and then... You... early, huh? Kano Makashima, Jesus Christ. Makashimishi came out to the mist, gun in hand. Good morning. Woke up just now, huh? Yes. Nothing special happened. So your stomach. Huh? The Guardian's show on the stomach. Oh yeah. Jimmy had told me that last time. Also mentioned something about Miko not being able to read it. Go and look. If you say so. Acting like I didn't know what he was talking about, I've returned to the hut. Man, that was close. I hadn't even considered the possibility that I'd have a guardian. Well, it was unlikely, but I checked just to be sure. I lifted up my shirt and exposed my stomach. What the fuck is that? What I saw almost made me shriek. I hadn't even noticed it. I didn't realize there was something like this on my body. It was drawn in red fluid, most likely blood. And it was nothing that I've ever seen before. Also, there was some eerie text there. Isn't that the mark of the wolf? I need a mirror. No, I'll take a photo. After a bit of trial and error, I finally read what it said. The tower lookout, the snake, find the lurking Yomi, cleanse and purify, or die. So he's the snake? So the mark was the snakes. And it clearly said the tower lookout. The description seemed faithful to the original source, and it had a certain aura about it. Find the lurking Yomi. The snake's role was to search for the Yomabito. Cleanse and purify or die. Man, not being roundabout at all. Are we always... That meant that the corruption would take me if I didn't wash it off. Huh. I quickly grabbed a wet towel and washed off the freaky warning. It even smelled like blood. I didn't know what it belonged to, though. If it were animal blood, I might have been in danger of catching something, but man, what were they thinking? Anyway, the snake, of all things. It belonged to Takumi-san last time. He quickly revealed it, and I assumed the wolves used it to their advantage. After all, the snake was a human's way out of actively confirming who was the wolf or not. This made it even harder for me to die. You know, that makes a lot of sense, because he's sitting here looking for the Yamabito. He's looking for the demon himself. Which means... Well, I guess should he always be the snake? Like, if I die and loop again, does that mean I'm still gonna be the snake? You know? And just like I thought yesterday, the roles had changed a lot. There was now a guarantee that Yosanaga and Taisan were wolves. They could easily be humans. The same went for everyone else. It was best to assume that I'd been sent back to square one on that front. Wait, how was I supposed to use the snake's power anyway? The blood letters only said that I was the snake and had to wash it off right away. Did someone know? But if I went to ask, I'd basically be telling them I was the snake. Would there be an explanation during the first feast? I had no choice, but I believe. For now, I would just return to the plaza. Good morning. I walked through the mist as I called out. Over here, boy. This time I had no problems meeting up with Kanzo-san. Did you check it? Yes. Well, my mind stopped for a second. Well, what? Nothing. Don't mind it. He looked away. Was that a leading question just now? If there was something on my stomach, it meant I had a guardian. I was meant to be a newcomer who didn't know anything. Wasn't it unfair to ask me that? If I'd actually said or even implied that there'd been something on my stomach, that would meant that I had a guardian. Or if I said there was nothing, that could be used against me further down the line, putting me at a disadvantage. If he was a wolf, who knew the implications of the question? Then again, I felt like he retracted his question because he knew it could be a lead to what kind of because he knew it could be a lead to that kind of misunderstanding. Shit, I'd love to ask that, but I couldn't use knowledge I wasn't supposed to have. Makishima-san, right? Have you looked around yet? That seemed like a yes to me. Is everyone alright? One's dead. Huh? Wait. You completely lost me just now. What's going on? Stop making noise or I'll kill you. Kill? Did he really just use the word so casually? Stay where you are. I don't trust you. He brandished his rifle again. I don't know anything. I didn't do anything. We'll decide that at the feast, boy. Yeah. Kratos. We'll decide that at the feast, boy. He sure was assertive. Maybe he didn't have a guardian this time. This made me realize I couldn't tell friend from foe by searching for differences in the behavior from last time around. For now, though, I just had to make it through this awkward moment with Kanzo-san. Soon enough, we were joined by the others. Tei-san, Takumi-san, Kaori-san, Yoshisigu, and old wolf guy. Takumi-san and Kanzo-san had went to the Nasato mansion and the dorm, leaving me with just a woman, a child, and two elders. Hey, old fart. I wasn't one of those old farts, damn it. You mean me? Who else? No, it's just uncalled for. What is it anyway? You know anything? Oh, like what? You got sent to Yasumizu, and this happens. It's fucking weird, ain't it? You talked to Higachi? You talked to Higachi, right? That asshole tell you anything? Nothing comes to mind. I played it off. Looks like the streak of bad luck I've had since Tokyo is still going on. I can sense this situation isn't normal. This mess is just crazy. Like you want to talk. You're bad shit. I really hate this kid. He said that, but his tone wasn't as antagonistic as before. It actually felt somewhat friendly. I could only guess that my act from yesterday warmed him up to me. A bit anyway. Yoshitsugu, this again? I ain't picking a fight this time. And stop pushing yourself. You're all pale. I'm sorry about this. Fusashi-san and Yosugitsu-san, you behave. I don't mind. By the way, Rikaku-san and Miko-san still aren't here. It seems so. They usually wake up early. I don't give a shit about the village heads. Stop it, Yoshi-kun. I'll go and call him. The relationships here were really complicated. Soon enough, Tai-san brought Rikaku-san and Mako-san. Good morning. As she entered the plaza, she looked at our mist-covered faces. Upon seeing mine, she gasped, then gave me a very slight bow. I'm not doing that child voice, fucker. Oni-chan, I rolled my futon and hit my leg. It hurts. Mako-san seemed in poor spirits. A bit later, I will make it better with some magic words. Magic? Huh. I wouldn't have been all that surprised if she was actually capable of that. This is my fault. First time seeing Yasumizu's mist. It's awfully thick. It is my first time as well. I believe we will have to perform the feast. That's true. I don't want no fucking family head telling me to do a goddamn feast. Yoshiketsu. I am sorry for being so powerless. Oi-chan, you're scary. I ain't okay with you being here. You're still a village head, and there's no way to tell what you're thinking. What's your beef with her? Do you hate the village heads that much? Damn right. Okay, he's still talking. Damn right I do. Without them, Mom would have... I'll expose you eventually. Yoshiketsu-kun sure was aggressive this time. Did he have a guardian? This line of thinking felt dangerous, making too many assumptions seem more risky than not knowing anything. One-chan. Well, she said it for me. When she says One-chan, and it's just that, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Rikaku-san was expressive as always, but I could tell she was feeling depressed. Man, things sure are difficult here, huh? She looked around in confusion before. I'm relieved that you are well, truly. She's best girl. She then gave me a smile. Hey, it's not like a mist can do much to me, right? Saranaga, that is the name of the river below. Its mists are said to be the breath of Yomi. They are considered to be the worst of all ill omens. Here in Fujiyushi, Masato-san told me that people always die when there are mists. She made a stern face, unlike any I had seen on her. What a horrible thing to say to a newcomer, such as yourself. But he said that it's only because the mist is so dense it causes many accidents. Even so, it is imprudent people still live here. Saying that someone is certain to die is too ominous. I've only been here a day, but from what I can tell, you're pretty different from the other family heads, aren't you? Oh, why would you think that? Well, the way you talk about Yasumizu, for one, it's nothing like Masato-san and Kamafujushi people. I merely think that it should be shown the respect it deserves. Fujiyoshi as a whole depends heavily on Yoshimizu, so... what do you mean? Can you elaborate? I shall tell you eventually. Now is not... I understand. It's a bad time for that. I want to protect Yoshimizu. Thus, Rikaku-san fell silent. Feeling a bit awkward, I resumed waiting. Soon enough, Takumi-san brought Kyonosuke to us. He immediately started worrying over Rikaku-san. As expected, but she seemed unreceptive to him. I might have gotten in the way of his love story. It made me feel kinda bad. Eventually, Kanazo-san returned along with the students. Namiya-san, watch your step. Whoa. Seeing Hisako and Mayami-san with them filled me with relief. Thus, I finally understood what happened now. Good morning, everyone. Ignoring everyone's gloomy faces, she forced a smile and greeted us like it was a normal morning. The inhabitants didn't respond. I also had a guess about what had happened, so I had trouble picking my words too. What's wrong with you all? Sure, this is a dense mist, but what about it? Wait, is Hashimoto-san still asleep? Again, no one responded. He's up the hill, right? I'll go check. No point. Kanzoshi opened his mouth, taking it upon himself to say it. I could already hear some stifled sobbing. It was Haru-chan. Not only was she afraid, she'd also realized that a tragedy had occurred. Mayama-san realized that something was wrong and was about to ask about it then. The guy's dead. The crude old man just told her what was up. Dead? What are you? He's lying dead near the landslide. What kind of nonsense is that? She instantly lost her composure. The unnatural aura around here was suddenly starting to get to her. Don't mess with me like that. We must fix our van and leave as soon as possible. I'll go wake him up myself. Stay where you are. What right do you have to... Makishima-san. I raised my voice because Kanzoshi reached for his gun again. This has to be a joke. What is this? I'm being punked. Did you burst the tire with this? That makes sense. We still don't know your rules. There's no guarantee that we'll do what you want just because you have a gun. What's your deal? You should stop that, old man. What's gotten into you? You always tell us never to point guns at people. Kanzoshi silently lowered his gun. If it's not a joke, then it's a crime. You're going too far. Stop it now. I'm leaving this instant. Mamiya-san. Was it? Sorry, but that won't fly. You can't leave until the mist clears. I'm sorry to say this, but your partner's gone. Someone killed him. Killed? Killed? What are you saying? He... Takumi, take her. Can you handle blood? You're joking, right? I'll go with you. He helped me a lot. Alright. You'll have to help me, though. You'll have to clean up, I assume. Alright. I shall go as well. Meiko, you stay here. I'll go too. Yeah, me too. Shit doesn't scare me. Oh, how absurd. He must have tripped on something because of the mist. The place happens to belong to me, so I guess I must see it. Too. How troublesome. We got so many volunteers that besides the old people and Meiko, the only ones who ended up staying here, Kaori-san and Haru-chan, both whom didn't look so good. Takumi-san led us uphill since we went through the fields. Some of us fell or got stuck, so we took a whole 10 minutes. Still, we arrived at the scene of the crime. What I saw there was almost exactly the same as what I saw last time. There was a brutalized corpse. It was close to the prefab, next to a waist-tall boulder, which did little to hide the large body. It was thoroughly destroyed. The entire frame had been torn apart, bent as if systematically detached, his muscles inside the bones from his body. The only things that hinted at who this once were the scattered pieces of clothing and impressive amounts of flesh. Once again, you die. Hashimoto, she failed to survive the first night. So, he went outside last night. Takumi-san muttered to himself. What is that? Mayama finally broke her disbelieving silence with a hysterical scream. What happened? What happened to Hashimoto-san? How did he end up like that? Mayama-san, please calm down. How can I? Why did this happen? This is just wrong. Mayama-san stopped mid-sentence and began puking. She'd either screamed herself into vomiting or caught a direct glimpse of the corpse. You're not the only one who wants to scream. Crap, I don't want to die because of some old story. You knew about this? Huh? You knew that this would happen. I asked him that while feigning anger and despair. Can't say I did, but we heard that this would happen, that this happens, mist comes, people die. Those deaths were caused by accidents. That's what I thought. I believe what the village heads told us. And look at that. They were lying. Who lied about what? What are you saying? That the so-called Okami have come back from the dead? Don't act like you don't know shit. Monsters and gods don't go pop out of nowhere. It's the village heads. They must have sent some beasts here. Please stop it, you two. Kako-san faint, yet stern voice cut the argument short. She then faced Hashimoto-san's body and lowered herself before it. It is our duty to give proper treatment to the guests who failed to prepare for the feast. We should, at the very least, let him go to Yomi in peace. I shall take in his corruption. Whoa. Rikako-san then... What are you? Rikako-san was etching her face forward closer to the pile of flesh and bone when... Get away! Mayama suddenly cut in, stopping her. What are you doing? Stop! Don't hold me back! Her voice and face were borderline demonic. None of us could bring ourselves to stop her. She leapt over the corpse and, ignoring the blood again, sifting through the remains with her hands. It has to be here. I suddenly realized what she was doing. I'll help. She didn't respond nor stop me. She completely lost her cool, but that madness was under control. It was clear that she wasn't unreasonable. She was in some unreasonable panic. After all, she must have had it. I began helping her, roughly searching the body. Haruki-san, what are you doing? The camera. He might have taken some photos. Oh. This kill was the same as last loop. The body was torn apart with no rhyme or reason. I felt something stiff on my hand. It was hair. I was close to the head. Don't overthink it. His camera must have been on his back, on his neck. I could follow this hint and I felt the cord on my hand. I found it. Where? It was a thoroughly broken, expensive-looking digital camera. It must have cost a fortune, but Mayame-san didn't care and just opened it. Monsters. No way. They don't exist. She muttered that in delirium, took out the memory card, threw the camera away, and ran off. Hey, where are you going? Takumi-chan, take care of the rest. The two disappeared into the mist. You know anything, Yasun? Not much, but... Look, the prefab doesn't have a toilet. Oh, so he had to leave to take care of his business. He didn't know how important the he didn't know how important the preparations were, so this result was obvious. I should have been the one to stay in the prefab. He died because of me, but I couldn't let myself wallow in regret. Rikako-san approached the body again, but Takumi-san put his hand on her shoulder. Hey, you don't need to do that. But I don't want to rely on some mysterious village head shit. Don't make me. Things will just get worse. You, Matsu, always get the short end of the stick, don't you? Just put your hands together or something. Takumi-san's tone was neither calm nor sympathetic. I had no idea what he meant by short end of the stick, but for some reason I felt like he was protecting her from something. Very well. Rikako-san did as she was told and put her hands together before chanting some sort of prayer. Yoshinaga-san watched her with a scowl. Rikako-san. Kyosuke missed his chance to talk to her, so he was just frozen in place. Yoshi, Kamochi, take everyone and go back and wash your hands and prepare to eat. Alright. Don't order me around. Let's go, Richan. Sato-san, it's time to leave. I don't need you to lead me. Let's go, Rikaku-san. Thus, they all left. Sorry about this, for Sashi. You can't. You can. I was about to say you can't. You can count on me for this much. Takumi-san and I began cleaning up Hashimoto-san's body. We couldn't remove the door, so we carried him on board from the destroyed construction site, and so we dropped him into Saranaga. I listened carefully, and I thought I actually heard a splash this time. So there was a bottom after all. Then why had we gotten lost on that one loop? Thinking on that possibility, I parted ways with Takumi-san, then returned to my hut and washed the blood off. I went to the plaza again, and the people had gathered around the dining hall. They were hanging out food, apparently. You wish you washed your hands. No, no, I didn't. Yes, and the rest of my body. I see. Well done. Tae-san seemed to be a bit softer on me than before. You youngins need to eat. You won't last long if you don't. Sure. What about you? I don't have an appetite right now. You should eat anyways, if you can manage it. Giving a vague response, Tae-san looked up at the boulder next to us. I followed her gaze and... This is... Saw the blood sign from last time. Yeah, each of them represents a wolf returning from Yomi. So since there's 2 marks, it stands to reason there's 2 wolves. I think there's 3, personally. That was what Shimi had told me last time. And now... Yeah, 3 wolves. Yeah, there were 3 of these. 3 of those weird diamond swirls. What do you mean? I'll tell you later. Very well. See you then. A bit overwhelmed, I walked away. The number of people had increased. I was told there would be 3 wolves at most, and that was exactly what we got this time. Why? What caused this change? There were several differences from last time, but which one of them did it? However, I could assume that knowing the roles from last time wasn't much of an advantage. Outside the dining hall, Kanzo was sitting on the ground and drinking something from a large bowl. He looked up at me and... Better eat up. Said said those curt words before focusing on his bowl again. He didn't trust me, nor did he antagonize me more than necessary. That was pretty reasonable, actually. Welcome back, Fusashi-san. Inside the building, I had found students, Yamatsu, Miko, Kinosuke-shi, and Kaori-san. There was an old wolf guy, too, but he was just staring at an empty bowl in the corner of the room. Sorry, I couldn't help. Oh, don't be. Thank you so much for helping Takumi-san. I didn't do much. Where's Chemi-chan and Mamiya-san? The journalist said something about looking inside the camera and locked herself in her room. Serizawa-sama went to clean the journalist's clothes. Made sense. Mayama-san was really bloody. Here you go. Kaori-san gave me a bowl, and I took one of the empty seats. Thank you for your work, Fusashi-san. No problem, Yasunaga-san. You already remembered my name. What an honor. That wasn't enough to hint I was looping, was it? I took a pair of chopsticks and ate up. It was a simple meal of some boiled vegetables and meat. I'm sorry it took... it's nothing impressive. These are leftovers from yesterday, but we couldn't waste anything, as you might imagine. How much food do we have? The fridge stopped working, so the milk and meat will go bad soon. But you don't have to worry about the rice and vegetables. Oh, and don't think about it last time. But at the very least, this awful sensation didn't come from a food shortage. Perhaps that was a silver lining. So you have no electricity? Any other problems? I'm worried about the gas. It was almost time to change the cylinder, so if it runs out, should we make a bonfire? The mountain will go ass shit, ape shit. Oh. Chikamochi-chan, watch your language. Listening to that strangely mundane exchange, I resumed eating. It was actually good. It didn't look like it was, so I felt like I had to close my eyes. Unlike the soup I was given in Kamafujushi, it was well salted and had a rich taste. The meat had to be the game and gutted by Chimi. It didn't reek much and had a simple flavor. It was probably venison. I'd consider this revenge for the time they made a fool out of me in the mountains. In terms of the amount of meat and seasoning, the people here seemed to be eating better than in Kanfujushi. Was it just my imagination? After emptying my bowl, I was offered some more and gladly took it. It was best to eat whenever I had the chance. I'm impressed how quickly you got used to the local food. Kanosuke suddenly commented. I thought he was being sarcastic, but his tone didn't seem antagonistic. You're not eating. I have food at home. Honestly, I've lived in the city for so... By local, he probably meant Fujushi as a whole, not just Yasumizu. And I really don't feel like eating right now. You should dig in, Uncle. You might not get another chance. Haru Makishima, this bitch. Hey, Mochi. Haru-chan had been completely pale since I'd arrived, but she suddenly covered her mouth and ran off to the bathroom. She'd forced herself to eat what she'd been given, but the stress had left her unable to keep it down. Chikamochi, you were disinherited because you don't understand people's feelings. Have you learned nothing? I don't want to hear that from you. I'll go say sorry. He went to the bathroom he went to the bathroom too, leaving the rest. Why did he put it like that? He went to the bathroom too, leaving the rest of us feeling kind of awkward. What's gonna happen now? Huh. We'll probably have a gathering like the old days and use it to decide who did it. And what then? Don't worry, Fusashi-san. Asanaga-kun joined the conversation with an unnaturally bright tone. I'm sure it won't be anything unreasonable. Oh. You sound confident, makes you seem reliable. Maybe anyway. Don't worry. Was he a wolf this time too? As I frowned and thought to myself, Takumi-san joined us. Takumi-san. Her vagina just lit up. Takumi-san. Hey, Kaori-san. Give me lots of whatever's up. You alright, Kyo? Don't call me that. Oh, Fusashi, you eating it, huh? You eating it too? Yeah. Thank you for the food, Kaori-san. Man, you got to eat her food before me. Lucky you. Good stuff, huh? Makes me want someone like her as my wife. Oh, my, you flatter me too much. You don't tell me you're after... Huh? What's with the atmosphere? After playing it off. By the way, Takumi-san. I caught the Takumi in a low voice. What? When's the feast? At 9. Old man Kazo said it. Alright. It wasn't even an hour before we would begin discussing who to kill. Takumi-san began eating, and everyone fell silent, so I went and moved seats. You okay, old man? Oh! He was the same as always, man. Just what we do if he had a guardian. This sure is troublesome. I arrive and get caught up in the mess the very next day. Where in Yazuma do you live? This wasn't even a conversation. Huh. Sorry. Looks like I got in the way of something. It's safe here. Excuse me? This is the most safe place. That's why I'm here. Safe? You mean the dining hall? No response. Were we having a dialogue, or was he just muttering things that made no sense? Was he talking about Yasumizu? That couldn't be it. After all, this was the least safe place in Fujushi. Or was it? I thought that he had a reason why he found it safe, but whatever it was, it couldn't save him from dying last time. In the end, it wasn't safe for him either. Something seemed off, but I couldn't put my finger on it. I'd somehow lost my right to sit next to him and began searching for a new seat. As I waited, the clock seemed to be moving strangely slow. The chair next to me was pulled a bit. Anyway, where could I sit? Our eyes met. Anyway, where could I sit? I wish to talk to you, Haruki-sama. She expressed it with words, anyway. Where could I? Don't ignore Rikaku-san! Why are you the one saying that? What do you mean? I knew you are new and don't know who to respect, but it's common courtesy to respond to a woman's modest consideration. Oh, I'm not sure if it was modest, but I can't really argue with the rest. So, you understand. Wait, are you just messing around? Rikaku-san, you look beautiful today. There, we're done talking. Anyway, Nasato-senpai, how do you manage to play the straight man so naturally? Don't mess around with the village heads! One-chan, you're being weird. Wow, he made a comedy routine out of those people. Strange guy. Musashi-san is quite funny. Kaori-san, look at his face. It's funny. Takumi-san. Kinosuke-shi eventually shouted in standard. I'm not saying with anyone so ill-bred, and left. What? Did I say that right? I think I said that wrong. Well, Takumi-san went with him, so I doubted Kinosuke-shi would end unluckily victim 2, as per horror cliches. It came back to me. During the previous feast of Yomi Purge, Komochi and Kamoshida and the old wolf guy had been killed, probably by something other than corruption. The suspects from back then, who were now around the dining hall, were... No, if it meant finding out the truth, I could just leave that. I had to switch gears. Anyway, I sat down next to Rikaku-san, who'd said her whoos so many times she'd actually gone limp. So that was my name now, huh? I gave up on correcting her. Hey, Meiko-chan. I'll borrow Oni-chan for a bit. Are you going to talk? Then wanna play with me, Meiko-chan? Yeah. Osanaga-kun took Meiko with him, giving us a chance to talk. You are awful. Hearing that from a beauty like you actually makes me happy. I was actually starting to find these reactions adorable. I could enjoy bullying a cute older woman. This was a rare opportunity, and I appreciated it immensely. Anyway, what is it? I feel quite guilty. Why? Because I accepted you and the journalists at the worst possible time. Is that something to feel guilty about? No one can predict what the mist comes. No, this is all happening because of our Fujishi's original sin. Original sin? Yes. The village prospered by killing the servants of God, after all. The ancient story of killing the wolves, huh? Oh shit, I read it. Whatever. I'd like to hear more. Yamawaki-san should give an explanation later. Yamawaki-san will. Yes. After all, she is Yamazu's representative. Representative? Not a landlord? Huh. Yes, everything in Yamazu belongs to either the village or the family heads. But it still needs a manager. Yamawaki-san is a well-adjusted lady, the oldest of us all, so she possesses discretion. That is the way it is. Ah, I see. So the way it is that, huh? Instead of turning bashful, she actually glared at me this time. This was pretty good too. That aside, I now know how it was. The oldest was the representative, and with that, she was in charge of the feast tutorial. By the way, you seem pretty hung up on guests. Is there some sort of local culture related to that? Yes. I hear that Fujushi was once full of visitors who came to the Shinai Shrine to pray for good hunting. Hunters from the outside were considered honored guests and treated kindly around here. That made sense if the belief itself was the village's main draw. I'm still reading like her. That made sense if the belief itself was the village's main draw. I can understand why this unique religion survived for so long. I wanted to get some certain details, but it didn't seem like something I could ask about while alone. So that's how it was. You're nice to me because I'm a guest, right? No, that is not. Or is it because I was there when you got hurt? That is... yes. Thank you again. But... do I need a reason? Oh, not at all. I just felt like there was some reason behind it. What if there was? I'd be happy. Maybe. The adorable woman hung her head down, cheeks reddening. I said radiating. I was the one playing around with her, but that actually made me feel kind of bashful. Perhaps I had to be more serious about her feelings. How would I do that, though? Ugh, the pus thing. Forget it. It wasn't the time for that. I was given an important role, so I had to find a way to keep the others alive. Shall we? Kaori-san's voice prompted everyone to rise from their seats. Rise from your grave. Then we wordlessly began to leave the dining hall. It didn't feel like an emergency, but this was the end of our normal everyday life. We already had people at the hall. Kanzo-shi, Takame-san, Kanosuke-shi, Yoshitsugu. And why do I always say Yasha? His name is Yoshitsugu. Kun and... Guys. Shimi and Mayama-san were here, too. Mayama-san looked depressed. Her panic attacks seemed to have subsided, but that didn't mean she didn't come around to all this. Jimmy whispered to me that they couldn't read the data they picked up, so we had no clues from the camera. The wolf guy, the students, Haru-chan's face was still pale. Kaori-san, Rikaku-san, Mako and I all went inside. Something strange happened then. As they went in, they hid their faces with both hands and lowered their heads. It was really a weird gesture. I actually seen it last time though. Taesan had done this while facing a boulder when prayer to Shania was praying over the speakers. There had been a strange veil-like thing on her face. It must have been another local custom. For now, I just followed their lead. Everyone sat in a circle. It seemed they were seating in order of age, starting from the far end. Yamawaki-sama. I will sit next to Mako. Very well. It wasn't enforced. It wasn't enforced, though. Fusashi and I, and the journalist should sit at lawyer end. Alright. I sat down closest to the exit. Mayama-san sat down beside me. Are you okay with this? I'm not a local. Her tone was cold. What's gonna happen now? No clue. She was whispering things like, why did this happen? Or this just can't get any worse. And I couldn't see a single trace of vigor from her yesterday. Is this everyone? Yamawaki-san entered last and closed the door, plunging the room into darkness. Mayama-san gasped and Mako let out a quiet scream. But that was it. No one here from Yasumizu was shook. Then there was a click of a switch being turned on, lighting up the bare light bulb above. The lighting was poor, making everyone's illuminated face stand out more. It felt unnatural, like a whole other world. Excuse me a second. Get something to drink. Everyone's seated then. Let's begin the feast of Yamiji Purge. And so it began. Urged by Yamawaki-san, Rikaku-san, as though understanding her implications, went deeper into the room. And after a bit of messing around, returned to us without tripping. In her hand, she held a labelless bottle. This is divine sake presented to Shinai-sama. Please drink it, starting from the guests. Rikaku-san sat down next to Mayumi-san and gave her an aged sake cup. Do I have to? Yes. It wards off the corruption. Mayumi-san didn't reply, but still took it. Rikaku-san then filled it with sake. Is everyone drinking this? Drink as much as you want. We have a lot of sake. Asako-san glared at the cup, smelled it, then just drank it all down. She sure looked like she could hold her liquor. It's normal, good quality sake. It smells fruity, like Jinjo. I don't know what that is. Gingo? Ginju? Impressed by her professionalism, I took the cup from her. Can you drink, Haruki-san? Bring it on. With a lighthearted reply, I let her fill the cup, then drank it all. Yeah, it was actually pretty good. It seemed like a luxury. Even I had no idea how such a poor settlement got their hands on it. It didn't seem like I could ask for more, so I just gave the cup to Maiko. Rikaku-san gestured for her to just pretend to drink it. Some for the students. The sake went through several people without anyone drinking. Now, it's all adults here. Here I go. Jimmy emptied it the amount she got it. What? Rikaku-san, who'd be sitting next to her if it wasn't for Meiko, then took a sip herself, followed by Kaori-san, until Kanosuke she finally emptied what was left. Takumi-san drank 2 full cups, saying, "Some feast, huh? You get to drink sake during the day." Then the elders each emptied a cup. That was everyone, so Rikaku-san took the bottle and the cup and returned to her place. We done. Teba talk. We have people who do not know the story. You should start from the beginning. That's true. Well, let me tell you about it. Finally. Shinai-sama is the god of the mountain. Long ago, when this village was made, Shinai-sama, first guardian was the wolves. Okame-sama. Alright, so the first guardian of the god was the wolves. Alright. The wolves protected the other guardians, the snake, monkey, crow, and spider, from the Yamabito. What's a Yamabito? People who died and came back. Scary. It's fine. I'm with you. In Kamafujushi, the Okami-sama are still worshipped with great Lord Shinai, even more revered than the other guardians. But here at Yamizu, we have a different story. The Okami-sama did protect humans, but also ate them. The Okami-sama also forbid fire. Wait, what? They forbid fire? That's why the people sought help from the snake, monkey, crow, and spider, and tricked the Okami-sama. So, are the wolves afraid of fire? Could that be like the best defense from it? Rikaku-san had called it Yamizu's original sin. Last time, Chimi was the one to tell me. Everyone living here knew it, surely. And since Kinosuke and Rikaku-san knew it, the village heads knew it as well. Kamafujushi Kamafujushi's people, though, just continued to revere the Okama-sama, the wolves. The people held a feast and gave the Okami-sama lots of sake. The other guardians helped push the snake and the Okami-sama, and so the Okami-sama got very drunk. Eventually, when the Okami-sama fell asleep, the people threw the Okami-sama and threw into the Saranaga. Fujushi then prospered more than ever before, but every now and then the Okami-sama would rise from Yomi and eat people again. The Okami-sama can pretend to be human, so the humans must find them, hang them, and slay them all. However, they could only hang one a day. That was one of Shinai-sama's rules. They gathered like this and decided which one to slay. They called it the Purge of Yami, or the Yami's Purge. The evening mist is the sign that the Okami-sama arrival, so everyone prepares. Take a bath, hole up in houses alone, and sleep well. That too is one of the Shinai-sama's laws. Those who don't do it receive the corruption, Shinai-sama's divine punishment. Young lady, can you please stop writing? Mayamo-san was taking notes. She silently put away her notepad, and I couldn't read her expression at all. I'll explain everything you don't understand. Now, on the day of evening mist, Shinai-sama brought the corruption. And the Okiba? The fuck's Okiba? And the Okiba was marked with 3 symbols on the Yoshimitsu Okami-sama. Sorry, but what is an Akiba? That's what I said. The stones you can find around Yasumizu. They seem to have been placed there by people, but no one really knows where they come from. Yasumizu's people believe they should be respected. I hear that before watering hole was created, the fires were lit atop the stones. So Okiba might mean place of kindling. That seemed like a weird idea to me, but I just kept listening. Yasumizu is poor, you see. The soil is bad, and we get no sunlight. There are many wild beasts, but hunting them is always a matter of life and death. But because of the Okiba, we believe this place is special. I see. So, what was this about symbols? Those diamonds with whorls in them, right? Yes. There are 3 of them, so there are 3 wolves. How do you know that? Is this a daily thing here? We have mountain festivals around here. Every year the Magarama dresses up as guardians and walk around the village. The number of wolves is announced in a similar way. That matched what Shimmy had told me last loop. Down to the part that there were a maximum of 3 wolves. Why 3? Because it's 2 parents and a child. Oh, I see why they think the little girl is a wolf now. 2 parents and a child. Huh. So does it mean it's always 1 guy, 1 girl, and someone younger? Huh. I myself had already imagined something like that, and it turned out I was on the mark. It didn't seem all that important, though. After all, the wolves didn't have that manner of blood relationship last time. I can hardly believe it happened too, but now that it did, the people of Yazumi must hang a Okami-sama. That is the reason why the village heads are so kind to us. It's our mission. Yoshitsugu-kun clicked his tongue, and Yoshinaga-kun calmed him down, Takumi-san furrowed his brow as expected. The village heads, kind to Yasamizu's inhabitants. The exact opposite was true, and many seemed to reject her words. However, she got the story across, and since no one pointed out any problems, it was probably completely right. Fujushi as a whole depends heavily on Yasamizu, so I also came to understand those words. Yasamizu existed to be the first line of defense if the wolves returned. The people here weren't some vulnerable soldiers, though. They were more like sacrifices. In the Shinai faith, Saranga was the entrance to Yomi, so by letting someone live nearby, they could stop the resurrected wolves via the feast. The Yamawaki-san's story, this duty was something that Kamafujushi's family heads rewarded in some way. This wasn't the time to focus on the minor inconsistencies. Though, there was something more important. I had to listen and see how accurate the rules she presented would be. Keeping my mouth shut, I waited until she'd gone over everything regarding the rules. Then I considered it all. We had these among us: 3 wolves, a snake, 2 monkeys, a crow, and a spider. The 2 monkeys would know who each other were, of course. The snake could write down the name of a still living person and place it by their pillow before bed to find out what they were. The monkeys, upon receiving their guardians, would be informed about who the other monkeys were. The crow would wake up to find out whether the person lynched the day before was a wolf or a human. The spider could write down the name of a still living person and place it by the pillow before bed to protect them from the wolves. The powers of these guardians were given out without no regard for the blood of the families they were possibly protecting. Their powers were to be used to discuss and lynch someone. Each day, there were 3 wolves. They would brutalize one of the humans every night. But that one time, there were 2 people that died, so that didn't make sense. Or was it just because of the corruption? I can't remember. The wolves had to purge before they killed. The wolves had to be purged before they killed all the humans. If you broke the rules, the god of the mountain would bring forth the corruption, a supernatural death upon you. Once the explanation was over, the room was filled with the sound of discussion, but there was still something I had to confirm. I opened my mouth. Hold on, Taiba, there's something I don't understand. But Yasunaga's-san was faster. What is it? You said that the wolves only kill 1 person per night. Yes. But why? In Shinai-sama's court, even the Yamatsu Okami-sama must do what he says. Why did he give them that rule, and why do they obey it? It is for us to fathom. Another thing, if the wolves go for the spider's target, can they go for anyone else once they realize they failed? They can't. I was told that if the spider stops the wolves, the humans sleep in peace. How do you know that? My grandmother told me a long time ago. Who haven't participated in a feast before, have you? His strong tone made everyone freeze. Yasu, what's up with you? If there are feasts every time there's mess, someone here must have been in one of them, right? As far as I know, we had a mess just 8 years ago. And... Misha, stop! Haru raised her voice and attracted everyone's attention. Stop, I don't want to remember. But Haru-chan. I'll ask later, Yasu. My son and his wife died back then. Don't make Haru hear about it. Oji-chan. Oh, so that was how it was. Did you see the aftermath of the landslide uphill? It's been like that ever since. Then Sato got to work on the place 8 years ago and it collapsed. It was all coming together. The landslide and Haru-chan's parents' deaths both happened 8 years ago. Then there was the mist. I wasn't in Yasumizu back then. Did you forget? I helped around the Kamafujushi school you children were staying at. It's my first time. The feast probably happened while we were away. But my grandmother might have been in one of herself. I see. Yasunaga-kun backed down, but didn't seem all that convinced. I also had questions how the rules of the feast could be passed down so perfectly, though. Nothing but word of mouth. After all, rejecting those rules meant death. What if there were gaps in what we'd just been told? Those who'd never heard of these rules or participation in the feast wouldn't have a clue. From what I knew, Taesan didn't mention 3 important rules just now. The wolves also couldn't kill more than one person. If the spiders successfully stopped the wolves, they couldn't choose any other sacrifices for the night. The guardians were written in blood, and you couldn't show yours to anyone. The first 2 were pointed out by Yasunaga-kun, but the last one, the thing I'd heard from Kanzo-san, wasn't mentioned yet. I wasn't too confident in the method of conveying the rules. If this was the way that had been passed down over the course of the feast, long history, it seemed to me that vital information could have been left out, like this, resulting in everyone dying through unintended rule breaking long ago. What would have ended the tradition and the fact that I had happened meant they might have been other ways of conveying information. In particular, they hadn't mentioned anything about the way the guardians were given, leaving out the part about how they revealed through the blood text seemed particularly risky. Yeah, who the fuck's writing on people's stomachs in the middle of the night? Oh, it might have been that thing that we saw in the doorway that one night when it told him to go to sleep. After all, it was possible that you could sleep and someone could come in and see it without you realizing it. Or you could roll around in the bed, roll around in a bad way and rub it out. Well, if they said it was some supernatural blood that didn't fade or so easily, I'd have no idea what to make of that. There was also a possibility that you could walk around with that text on your stomach without realizing it was there. It took Konzo pointing out for me to go back and check it. I'd have liked to ask more about it. But that was the same as telling the wolves I had a guardian. What a predicament. But it didn't seem like I had any time to think about it. Enough of that. We drank, listen to the hag, and pick someone to kill, right? How the fuck did we do that, huh? Reasonable question. If the story is true, it means that some of us are already dead and replaced, doesn't it? Oh no. Like hell, that's true. Takumi-san had No patience for such superstitions. This is all a village head's fault anyway. They want to have some of us off in the mist to dampen our spirits. Miro! What do you think you are? Rotten brain scumbags who are behind the times. Don't act like you can deny that. But what do you kill a person that what do you do to kill a person that way? I don't know. It don't matter. Takumi, the wolves will kill us all if we sit back and do nothing. We gotta hang him in the feast. There's no other way. Oh man. Saying that at this point was pretty much an admission that he'd been in a feast before. However, his sternness made it hard for everyone to point that out. And having experienced a feast or two before was actually an advantage in the situation anyways. After all, everyone would want to benefit from his knowledge and experience. Gansha, how do we decide who to hang? Yamawaki-san's questions made everyone look at Kanzo-san's face. You could tell how much they trusted him. Oh man. Hoji-chan. You there. Fusashi, right? Me? Yes? Can you die? What? My mind came to a halt for a moment, and I couldn't find a way to respond. Matsu, pour him some more. Makashima-sama? Just do it. Kaku-san argued no further and brought me a cup of the sake. You should not drink. It's fine, I will. I took the cup and she filled it up. What do you mean? I drank it all down. Then looked over everyone's faces. They lowered their gaze or looked away. Adults, children, the elders, even Chimi. No one besides Kanzo she looked in my eyes. I could see how it was. Someone's gotta die. We gotta decide who. The wolves will win if we don't. Can't waste a day, but no one's reeking of wolf right now. We'll know more if one dies. I understood now. He wanted to start off by unmasking the crow. My death at the tree would be a chance for him to show themselves. Since they'd know for certain whether I was a human or a wolf. Kanzo-san really didn't know how the feast worked. He understood the victory depended on those with guardians. And since I was new here, I was easy to sacrifice. It preserved the group's unity and mental health. I could tell that they would tolerate me being the one to hang. However, I couldn't let that slide. My current objective was to survive and escape, not to mention I was the snake. My death would be really bad for the humans. However, you came here to die, didn't you? Die for us, will you? That was a good scenario. If I said I didn't want to die anymore, they probably wouldn't respect me, but it wouldn't be good in the long run. If they saw me as pathetic, I would lose popularity. My word would start to mean less. The settlement was in danger. Kanzo was trying to take control of the situation and everyone's okay with it. If my words started meaning less to them, it'd be at a disadvantage, creating a situation where like the outsider I was, could be killed easily. My only option was to express what I was a person who shouldn't die, but in a roundabout way while doing it. However, what would make me look dangerous and make it more likely for them to see me as a wolf. For some. But please do. Oh, so another reason he was making me drink was to get me drunk, making me less resistant to being hung. Well thought out. I couldn't drink from this, though. What a predicament. I had no choice but to man up. What are you about to say? Asuka Mayama cut me off. This wasn't too bad, so I shut up and let her talk. I can't just keep quiet and listen to you all. Are you all actually okay with that? If so, I can't play along. Mamiya. Don't you think this is weird? The tires burst. The next day, we're caught up in something like this. At first, I thought it was too old-fashioned, even for you people. But now, I actually believe this is some custom where you abduct and kill outsiders. That's wrong. Takumi-san's expression changed as he cut her off. I see it for you. But from what was said about Furushi-san, I'd be the one to go next, wouldn't I? No, you wouldn't. The only one saying that was the old man Kanzo. Takumi. Listen, this ain't the way we do things. We should talk about who's shadier than the rest, right? No one is. We all reek the same. Talking ain't gonna help. We all reek. Even me? Why? It doesn't matter in the feast. The old yet robust man stood up and spoke aloud. There's a monster among us. They don't look like it now, but they'll kill us all at night. That's the feast of the Yami Purge. You won't win with emotions. Huh? Monsters? Old age getting to ya? Listen, Shitsugu, please stop. You believe in monsters, Hag? I don't. There's also the issue of that guy who's put nails in the woman's tires. Someone put them there? Hasn't been at construction recently, right? People here barely have money for nails. Gotta be on purpose. Are you saying the village heads are responsible? Who else? They want to see people die, so they drag the outsiders into it. Seems likely. Preposterous. They're too busy for that. Youngin, you were sent by Higachi, right? Now this was bad. He told you anything? Takumi-san, Yoshigetsu, and even Mayama stared at me. Well, Fusashi, they now thought I could have been sent here by the village heads as an agent of theirs. That was a really good script, especially since I actually was the one who burst the tires. Stop! I can't listen to this. Those are all just assumptions. What if you're wrong? Don't tell me you all okay just because the mountain will forgive us or something. I don't care about forgiveness. We'll hang the wolves and protect Yama's. Not gonna ask Fusashi anymore. And I ain't planning on arming the journalist. But nothing will change if no one dies. And I won't sleep right if I hang a woman or child. That's all I'm asking for. Then hang me instead. Well, that was unexpected. Everyone stared at the stern-faced Jimmy. Kasamizu is about to unfairly kill a new neighbor. Is that what it's supposed to be like? If so, then I hate it. If you need a death, then kill me. Consider it atonement for all the trouble I caused. Chine! What are you saying? Yasu, I just went and thought up about which one of us I would prefer to die. And when Kazuji-chan targeted Haruki-san, for a moment I actually thought that seemed fine. I can't forgive that part of me that Yazuma has made. So if you need someone to die, then kill me, Kazo. Chine, stop that. Yeah, I mean, there are other people who could take his place. He didn't respond. His face was a total blank. No, he actually seemed slightly vexed. It is just, as Sarazama says, if we seek a meaningless death from a guest, we cannot fault Mayama-san for suspecting us the way she did. Then you do it. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong voice. Then you do it. You fucking family head anyway. Fine by me. What are you saying? She is the last of the Amatsu, the protectors of dreams. How can you even suggest that? Shut up, you scrawny fuck. It is true that I have no guardian and would simply get in everyone's way. But I am concerned about this girl. Using the brat to beg for your life? Yasunaga, shut up already. You stop playing the good guy. It's their fault that mom's... This has nothing to do with Amatsu-san. Stop troubling mom already. Yasunaga, Yoshitsugu. I was at my limit. Though Kanzo-san's idea was reasonable, it was possible he too was being swayed by... What doesn't make sense to me, that I'm actually... I'll save it. By antagonism toward the village heads. If they moved based on that or just some sort of hatred, everyone would just become more emotional. People became wolves without any regard for bonds and relationships. I knew that well. That was why I couldn't let the feast take the turn that it became heavily controlled by outsiders' factors. There was also the fact that I wasn't just about to just accept death. Then could I let the volunteers die instead? I wasn't fond of that idea. Excuse me. I'm a monkey. I might have underestimated the feast of Yami Purge. I couldn't control it at all. There were too many wills clashing from too many people. Surprised by Yasunaga-kun's words, I fell silent and shot him a side glance. My guardian is the monkey. I don't like it one bit. The mountain sure works in mysterious ways. Hama. You serious? I am Yoshitsugu. Kanzo-san, I do believe that we must eliminate the wolves. But if we hang someone based on what happens outside the feast, we'll have major troubles in the future. There's still other things we can do. I'm a monkey. As such, I want the other monkey to present himself. Wait, Yasunaga-kun. Guardians will be precious to reveal just like that. No, Teba. The monkeys are the only ones that should be revealed. You understand, Haru-chan? Sorry, not at all. There are two monkeys, but they don't have any special powers. They're just monkeys. That means they're not much of a menace to the wolves. Revealing them instantly removes two suspects, making it easier to find the wolves. Oh yeah, it's just people, so they're safe. Now please, show yourself. This was a trap. The monkeys knew who the other monkey was. He didn't have to ask them to name themselves. He could just point them out. He also emphasized that being a monkey meant you were no longer a suspect. He wanted to set a trap for any wolves who didn't have a good grasp on the situation. If a wolf tried to pretend to be a monkey, Yasunaga and the other monkey would point it out, leading to the faker being hanged. Even if it didn't work, like he said, exposing the monkey was a good way to get rid of two suspects. Everyone who knew who the monkey worked, how the monkey worked, would understand that this is a thing where it was unlikely that a wolf could fall for it. It was a simple, creative idea with no risks involved. And now that he'd come out as a monkey, he was confirmed to be human. That made me more relieved than anyone else. The moment that he, the one who had a flawless victory as a wolf, last loop, wouldn't be an enemy this time. I already knew that the Guardian assignments were completely different than last time, but it was still a nice thought. However, that idea was quickly flipped around. Yasu, don't go acting big on your own. Big? The monkeys can reveal themselves. How many of you all agree with that? The only ones who raised their hands were Kamashita, Kinosuke, Nasada, Chimi, Serizawa, Hisako, Mayama, and Haru Makishima, who was kinda timid about it. Yasunaga-kun included. This was 6 people, a majority in the 15 here. You're acting big when no one understands a thing, then blabbing on while making yourself look right. That's what wolves do. Everyone suddenly stared at Yasunaga-kun with pointed glares. Hold on. Are you saying that Yasunaga's a wolf? He ain't wrong. You can't fake a monkey. He ain't a wolf. He's what he says he is. But don't go out without telling everyone how it is. The rest ain't as clever as you. Then let me explain it again. Yasunaga then borrowed Mochi's help to thoroughly demonstrate how 2 groups of monkeys would work. They showed how easy it would be to find out that Mochi, who was playing the part of the wolf, was a faker. So yeah, if you play the monkey, it won't last long. So it's better to just not. Liar gets the rope. I see. Now I understand. Are there any of you who still don't get it? This time no one raised their hands. Can we move the old man and the little girl? I'm not sure they understand. No. Kanzo-san shot her suggestion down, and since no one came to support her, she quickly gave up. Her worries were very reasonable. The feast, however, wasn't. Even if some people didn't understand their own roles, the wolves had to die, or there would be no future for the humans. That was the feast of the Yami Purge. If they had guardians, their powers might be wasted, and if they were wolves, they had to be killed. I was pretty sure that the people of Yasumizu, at least, were certain that that was how it would go. Everyone get it now? Other monkey, please name yourself. No one said anything, which meant that apparently the other monkey doesn't understand anything. That was a natural conclusion. However, no. Why aren't you saying anything, Kanzo-san? What? Oh man, you're a monkey? Really? What a relief, man. Kanzo-chan's human. How promising. They seem generally relieved. You could tell by the sigh and whispers. It was true that it was good he wasn't a wolf. If he was and continued to take charge of the feast like he was, he would have probably killed everyone, even more easily than Yasunaga-kun. What? Didn't you name yourself? However, not everything about this was perfect. Yasunaga had forced Kanzo to reveal his guardian against his will, which was probably his way of taking the lead. One of them knew how to use his guardian's power, and the other didn't, revealing that made Yasunaga seem more reliable. However, if you're asking me, I couldn't believe you until you pointed me out yourself. That's just absurd. No, not really. Watch what you're doing. Yasunaga's-kun's first step went over the heads of most of the people presented, and Kanzo had used that against him. He had the makings of a leader, and by scolding Yasunaga for his hastiness, he made it clear without what the chain of command was. As a result, Kanzo-san's control of the situation was stronger than before. That also meant that Yasunaga-kun's plan to help me was negated, leaving me in the same danger I was in before. I had to act now. Excuse me, can I finally talk? I went and asked Kanzo-san, talking out of turn. Here was just making... What am I rambling on about? I went and asked Kanzo-san, talking out of turn. Here would just make me look like the bad guy. I don't want to die yet. It's not like my life's precious to me. I just think I can be more useful to you alive than dead. Makishima-san, this morning you told me that guardians appear on the stomach. Does everyone else know this? I watch everyone's reaction. They just made a little bit of a noise. I forgot to say it. It said that the guardian marks appear on the body. I think everyone here in Yasumizu looked at themselves this morning. If you found a mark, you can't show it to anyone. We have to hide it? No, you can't. You can wash it off. I see. So outsiders like Hasako-san and Miko-chan might have not known about this. I told Miko about it. No need to worry. Okay, then what about Mayama-san? I didn't look. First I heard about this. So it's possible that Mayama-san has a guardian. But just because she doesn't know it. By the way, can we pause the feast? We ain't leaving until we decide who to hang. Oh, let's see. So Mayama will have to check if she has a guardian before tomorrow's feast. And should be left alive until then, right? And if I had a guardian, you couldn't hang me before if I didn't. You could... If I didn't, you could. That's why you asked me that question this morning, right? And since you apparently concluded that I didn't have a guardian, you decided to hang me, right? Surprisingly, Kanzo's son grinned. You got a good head on you. A good head and tongue, I see. Kanzo, you're being too cruel. It's fine, Kimi-chan. I understand my position and knew this was how it would go. As a human, I don't plan to lie to survive, but I want just one more day. I'll use it to think of a way to help the humans win and find useful information. I'll present it to you tomorrow. If it's no good, you can hang me then. I didn't mention that I had the guardian or whatever, or whether the info I would present was based around guardian powers or simple strategy. I was a weasel warding like mad. However, it was important to express some sort of self-sacrificial spirit in this situation. Haraki-san. The effect was the same as when Shimi did it. Not everyone here agreed that someone should die for the others, but this was a situation where everyone's lives were in danger, and here I was showing acceptance of my position. Everyone here could tell it was something a wolf would do. The wolves were more likely to hide among the silent ones, not the ones who told the others to kill them. If everyone agrees with his words, the one we hang should be anyone besides the monkeys, Kanzo-san and I, Fusashi-san or Mayama-san. No one objected. Do that then. I was in for a hell of a time on tomorrow's feast. However, the day I bought should have been enough to open up a path for me. Who do we go for then? Why not just take out the village heads? That should get you shut up. Takoni, you don't like them either, do you? If you hang someone because you don't like them, you're just the same as them, damn it. Yatsugu complained a bit, but then fell silent. He probably understood his point. I have a suggestion, said Masato. This isn't getting us anywhere. We should choose someone who, by popular vote. Don't you agree, Sir Makishama? Huh? What the hell? That's insane. I ain't choosing like that. It's not insane. Do you have any other way to get consensus of so many people? We can talk out like we could talk it out and decide then. Takumi-chan, I understand how you feel, but can we really kill by popular vote? Your turn to die. Ni-chan, what do you think? I agree. With Nasato-san. You too? That works. Everyone was stunned that they'd accept Kanosuke's proposal. Uematsu, get something to write on. I'm sure we do. But eventually, everyone agreed to it. They must have understood what this was, how it had to go. There was a place for storage deeper inside the hall. It was probably where the sake and cup were kept. The inkstone case they kept there had fresh paper inside, and by Kanzo-san's command, Rikaku-san began writing down what she had to. Fusashi-kun. Yes? They prepared sake and writing tools. It means that someone knew this could happen, right? Yeah. The paper doesn't seem decades old either. And the water isn't rotten. Doesn't that mean this whole thing was set up by humans? This building is a shrine to great Lord Shinai. 2 times a year, during the mountain festivals, the Four Heads family of Kamafujushi present various offerings. Divine sake, writing tools, ropes, sickles. I was told these terms had been kept here for a long time. That means that they weren't just for this time. But the head families still knew that they would be used, right? I knew nothing of that. I'd been married into the Gachi family for almost a year, but I never heard of that. Oh, I never mentioned that, did I? So that's how it was. Well, I was the same situation myself for a while, but I never heard anything about that. Who'd tell you? Of all people, no one would want to share the secrets with you. I don't want to hear that from you, Uncle. Sounds complicated. I also did not know that the things here would be used. There might be something that only the Megarama. No. Or perhaps only a select few of the villager heads know. You lying bitch. The head of the Amatsu. Huh. Yoshibo. She's writing. What? Go. Oh, fart. Yoshi, cool off. You too, Takani-chan. Chicken shit. Oh man, I can't say I don't understand him. Mamio has a point. This means that the heads just acted nice and tributed the stuff, knowing that this would happen to us. Amatsu, you sure you don't know anything? You could just say it. It'll all make sense then. I really had a feeling that God would soon rise again. Sudden loud noises. They were caused by Chimmy and Haru-chan. No way. But, no, I really... God is... What? Exactly what I'm thinking, man. What? Haru. The sudden burst of happenings was just too much for me to keep up with. Haru Makashima suddenly started laughing out loud. Kanzashi's face, paled right before me, ran over to her. Everyone else just stared at them, dumbfounded. Haruni, again. Are you cured? Ocha, hang in there. Out of the way, Kamacha. Crap, Misato. You know anything? I see. Didn't I already tell you before that mental illness cannot be treated in a place like this? Don't touch my granddaughter. Menacing and pushing everyone away, Kanzu's son braced Haru-chan tight. Haru, calm down, I'm here. I had no idea what was happening. God was sort of like a key word. No idea why. But last time, I had a profound effect on Chimmy. It worked on Haru-chan too. What did you hear? That actually happened before. It actually happened before. Was it different from the Okami-sama and Shinai-sama? Okami wolf. Come to think of it, in addition to wolf, Okami could also mean great, God. Was that significant? Huh. The wolf is coming! Not now, you old fart. Takumi-san, no violence. Thus I offer homage to Shinai, the Almighty, so peace may come to pass. Thus I offer homage to Shinai, the Almighty, so peace may come to pass. Man, things are getting out of hand. Still, Haru-chan eventually calmed down, and albeit still delirious, began talking normally. Hi. What did I collapse? Anemia? Keep it together. Hoji-chan. By the way, Jimmy too had long since recovered, since recovered, and she was now acting like nothing had happened. Why were they so ready to accept the feast itself when they freaked out like normal people over their own family and followed villagers acting so weird? I could understand being scared of monsters. And curses too, for that matter. But... They also had the insanity to hang their own mothers and accept being hanged by the ones they loved. It was something straight out of hell. Just how many times would I have to see this kind of thing before I understood it all? I'm done. We'll get back at it in a moment. The climax was drawing near. Rikaku-san had written a list of people participating in the feast of the Yami Purge. The penmanship was nice, and the order was proper. It felt kind of like a petition or something. A vote starting from the end. Amatsu. You record who's voting for who. Shimi Yasunaga, you check if she's doing it right. We will not vote for Mayama-san or Furushi-sama, correct? That's what I'll do. But you decide on your own. That sounds fair to me. We should think about what they said and decide whether we agree by ourselves. That's democracy. Uncle, you're kissing Haru-chan's grandpappy's ass now. Wow. I'm simply saying what I think is true. Let us begin. Is that how you act when you're about to choose who to kill? The wolves must hang. This is wrong. It's a real crime. Sako-san was very normal. I like that. However, I didn't think it'd help her survive for long. Who you choosing, old fart? Oh. I had no idea if he understood the question, the situation, but he did point at someone, specifically me. Huh? You wolf. Rikaku-san, one vote for him. Yes. This really is wrong. Why does everyone vote have the same value? If you don't get it, then shut up. What is it that you don't get? Tell me. Mayami-san, everyone must have the same voting power. I mean, if there was a way to remove it, the wolves could use it too. If you could use reasoning to remove someone's vote, that would be another thing for them to take advantage of. It'd probably work against you too. Against you as well. After all, we probably have a number of people here who think that outsiders shouldn't vote. Jimmy grumbled, while some others gave disgruntled frowns. I think it's unfair to you, but in order to protect Yuzimizu from all this, we can't avoid putting our lives on the line. You want to survive? Sure, but that's the attitude of a wolf. A human must not be against getting hanged, unless you have a guardian. Anyway. I'll check right after this is over. Good, next. Imatsu, I'm voting for you. So that was his choice, huh? Do you have a reason for that? Not really. Huh? It's not that weird, is it? Kanzo-san thinks that everyone's suspicious, but also believes that we must sacrifice someone. If he can't go for Fusashi or Mayama, the one's easiest to hang, or the Amatsu, or you. You're all so... I understand. I accept the vote. Oh man. Pa-chan, you're next. I don't really get it, but if Kan-chan ain't voting for the outsiders, then I'll do the same. Kan-chan, Yasu-kun aren't wolves, right? That's safe to believe. And I'll vote for Yashi-kun. Huh? You damn hag, why? You're so violent and don't listen to your mother. Attitude must be the reason why your corruption came. That's your reason? I get it. So you're a wolf who just wants to kill everyone you don't like. I'm next. I'm voting for Miko. She came to us the most inconvenient time, and we don't know anything about her. It's too shady. But she's a little... I know, but what are we supposed to do if she's actually a wolf? It seemed like he had a point at first glance, but... Just so you know, I don't believe in monsters, but for all we know, it's possible we really will die if we don't follow the rules. Don't worry, if it comes to that, I'll hang her alone. That's all I say. Kaori-san, you're next. Yasunaga, can I refuse to vote? You shouldn't. This is the only way for humans to fight the wolves. People who don't vote could consider silent supporters of the wolves. And who will you vote for? Can I speak up before it's my turn? If you want. I'm planning to vote for Nasato-san. Who? What? No one's shady yet. I agree with Kanto-san on that. And since it's possible the village heads know something, you're entirely deserving of your suspicions. Masato-san, Matsu-san might be the same in that regard, but she moved to Yamizu 3 years ago, while you only came here recently. That's enough reason to think you might know about this. That's all really. It's nothing. That's all really. It's nothing personal. Oh, I see. So Yasumizu's hatred of Kamafujushi goes bone deep. I might have to change my outlook a bit. Then I will vote for him too. I thought as much. Well, I believe I understand your family to a certain extent, but hanging me will be a waste of a day. Keep that in mind. My turn. I'm voting for the new arrival. Seriously. Uncle, you're not kissing the old guy's ass anymore. No one's been kissing ass anything. Wait, I said that wrong. No one's been kissing anything. I simply think he's trying to weasel his way into surviving without lying in the process. I'm not completely confident, but as things are, the most suspicious person here is the one who had the least reason for wanting to survive. Everyone wants to survive, damn it. Requesting anything better from a person who has been here only for a day seems a bit cruel. Say whatever you want. That's it from... Unfortunately for me, he did have a point. I already said my vote, Muchi. You're next. One for Uncle. Chikamuchi, you motherfucker! No. You too! I mean, it's looking to be a vote-off between you and Richan. Richan's a girl, so I figure I'll let you take it. Chikamochi-san. I have nothing against protecting Rikaku-san, but that is an entirely different matter. Anyway, it's time for the one most likely to vote for Uncle. Yoshi. One for Matsu. Huh? I just think she's shadier than the scrawny dumbass. Well, I wanted to vote for a certain hag here, but I guess it's more important to actually kill someone. You do the same, Chine. I'm voting for you. Huh? Wait, why? Yoshiko, if you really aren't a wolf, you should stop picking a fight with people. There's no guarantee that the wolves are all Kamafujushi's people or the elders. You know, there's no proof you aren't a wolf either. I'm almost completely against everything Nasato says, saying. Why'd I say that? I'm almost completely against everything Nasato's saying, but I agree with that much. I hope it's not you, but maybe my vote will encourage you to knock it off. Is this for real? Yoshisugu, please calm down. Everyone, please, I beg you. Don't worry, Yoshi-kun won't die that easily. You're next, Haru-chan. That guy over there. She pointed at me. Well, I can't blame you for not trusting me. Haruki-sama. You're next, Rikaku-san. I'm voting for myself. What? Is that allowed on that? I think it's that, right, Tejba? I've never heard of this happening, but it ain't forbidden. I know that I said, but you don't have to force yourself like that. No, your spirit for self-sacrifice moved me. It made me realize that perhaps my role here is to take in the hatred of everyone present. They did say that that's what her family's supposed to do, take in curses, so. If you do not know who to vote for, please vote for me. Just please spare the little girl. What was I supposed to do with this? Meiko, pick someone to hang. Him. You goddamn brat! Don't bully Oni-chan. Haruki-san, you're next. Kinosuke-shi, Yoshimatsu-kun, Rikaku-san, and I all had 3 votes each, while Meiko-chan had just 1. What if several people get the same amount of votes? I didn't read that, my bad. He said that we'll just have to select somebody from those 3. Well. The suspects who go up to the next round would lose their right to vote. Huh. That was something. But if that was how it worked, then what if there's a complete split on the second vote? That's what everyone wants. We won't hang anyone. Well, that was interesting. They go for a final vote by limiting the suspects and giving the voting right only to the rest. And if there was several in the limited group who received majority votes, they could vote again. But if there was a completely perfect split among them all, they could cut the number down again, nor return back to square one, making it impossible to continue the vote. This was actually quite a delicate situation. The one in the lead were Kinosuke-shi, Yoshitsugu, Rikaku-san, and me. Alright, so it's 4. We have Meiko behind us with just 1 vote. Normally thinking I could vote for one of the other 3 to make sure I survived. Then even if Mayama-san picked me, I wouldn't die right away. There'd only be a final vote, which was dangerous in its own right. However, I didn't feel like voting for Yosugitsu. His votes were mostly just a punishment for being a brat, so actually killing him would shock everyone present. There was also Kaori-san, who would most likely make a mess of the whole feast again later on. I wanted to avoid that. Then was I to vote for Kinosuke-shi or Rikaku-san? The former seemed like the better choice. He'd vote for me, and he'd voted for me, and he'd probably prefer to die rather than see Rikaku-san hanged. However, he really didn't feel like a wolf to me. Could I really kill him off just because of the village heads? I like him we're so resented here. What will you do, Mamiya-san? Why are you asking? Honestly, I feel like the very act of voting is risky right now, so I want your opinion. I will prevent a murder, if possible, anyway. Did she also see it? Did she notice the unlikely but most possible way to preventing everyone's lynching? That helps the wolves, you know. Like I care. This is Japan. We have laws. If you're going to approve a crime just like that, I'm going to stop you, like the good person I am. Her words were just too reasonable. Honestly, I feel like a number of you here are voting to make a certain something happen. I mean, you wouldn't normally get votes spread out so evenly. Would a death in a situation like this really be voted by consensus? Yeah, I don't think I'd get a response. I had to think this through. In most situations, hanging someone was the way to make progress. However, I still had another option, the snake's power. If I didn't use it, at least once, there'd be no point in me having it. First and foremost, I had to make it through the day. However, this was a situation without any clear enemies. If we picked someone arbitrarily, wouldn't it be bad for us in the long run? I couldn't help questioning that course of action. Well, there was no point in lying to myself. Honestly, I just really wanted to exploit the loophole in the rules. If you are hesitant, vote for me, not Miko. Rikako. San went and empathized that. She really didn't have to worry though. Miko wouldn't die no matter what. Even if the remaining votes went to her, she'd just become another option in the final vote, and the candidates would either be me or one of the village heads. Rikako-san would become a good dumping ground for votes. After all, she voted for herself and suggested that the others do the same. She was by far the closest one to death. What she did was pretty much suicide. Did she have suicidal tendencies or something? She did seem a bit dim in certain ways, but not completely simple and idiotic. If you're hesitant, vote for me, not Mako. Why the emphasis, and why then? Oh, yeah, I guess I could kill Rikaku-san or Mako-san after all. That left me with only one answer. I vote for Mako. Mayama voted for her too, meaning we had 5 people with 3 votes on them. We would then start a final vote centered around them. There were 15 people here. According to the rules, Kanzo-san described the 5 candidates would lose their votes, so only 10 would get to vote. Oh, I get it. So to be even. That made for a very special situation. This was the key to creating a very unlikely situation where no one died. By the time my turn came, there were 4 votes with 3 votes. If Mayama-san gave the votes off to someone else, the vote would only have 4 options and 11 voters. There was no way to divide them equally. Someone would have more votes, and we'd certainly have to have a hanging on our hands. It'd be fine if the split turned out that to be something like 2-3-3-3-3, resulting in a final vote, assuming that the one who got her vote back. But if it was something like 1-3-4-4, and those who got 4 would be voted on again, you'd either have 13 or 11 voters, an odd number regardless. However, there were 5 suspects and 10 voters, which means everybody gets 2. if the votes were split evenly at 2-2-2-2-2-2, the voting would be canceled and no one would be lynched today. Alright. Maima had realized this too. That was why she had hesitated to vote for Mako. That left us with another problem though. After all, the sacrifice was as good as decided. Can we just vote for the same person? Crab Kanzo-san was going for it. And still, wait, let people vote again. Didn't realize it and acted on it. Yes, of course. Otherwise, Rikako-san, please show me the results. Yes, certainly. Exactly. You realized it too. And looking at the results just confirmed it. Old wolf guy, Haraki Fasashua. I'm not gonna read all that. Exactly as things were, Yoshisigu and Mako would have 2 votes. Rikako-san would have 1, and Konosuke would come out on top with 3 votes. Of course, there wouldn't be any problems if the results changed, but... Got a reason for that? Of course I do. What's the point of a final vote if we don't actually vote again? Gee, did you vote to make the numbers the same right from the start? Chimi fell silent. She had no rebuttal. The purpose of the final vote was to cut off the minority, those who had the votes, and let the majority's votes do this talking. And that was why the impossible to select anyone when the votes were split perfectly, and there was no minorities or majorities. Before the vote, I think I'm gonna save it here, and I'm gonna save it here because I think I'm gonna stop here. Yeah. All right, yeah, this is where I'm gonna stop it at. 2 hours and 15 minutes is, whew. Didn't realize I was playing that long. So that being said, I hope everybody's taking care of themselves. I hope everybody's watching out for one another. I hope everybody's having a good day. To my boys in blue out there, you guys took a fucking oath to protect and serve, and some of you aren't doing that. But the ones that are, please protect yourself and your partners while you're out there. When you're home.